My name is Sophia Mitchell, and this is the story of how a simple delivery boy turned my ordinary life into something extraordinary. It was a chilly Tuesday afternoon in Brooklyn when my world began to shift. Though I had no idea at the time, I was sitting at my small wooden desk, cluttered with notebooks, textbooks, and half-drunk cups of coffee. Finals were approaching and the pressure was overwhelming. My tiny apartment felt suffocating as rain pattered softly against the window. Just as I was about to give up on finishing my last essay, the doorbell rang. I sighed, expecting the usual, a package I didn't order or perhaps a pizza to save me from hunger. When I opened the door, standing there was a young man, maybe my age, drenched from the rain, holding a pizza box. His name tag read Ethan. His eyes sparkled with a friendly warmth that made the cold outside feel distant. "Pizza for Sophia?" he asked with a hopeful smile, water dripping from his jacket. "Yes, that's me," I replied, taking the box, but surprised when he lingered. "You look like you could use a break," Ethan said, nodding toward my desk piled high with papers. I laughed softly. "You could say that. Finals week isn't exactly a party." "Well, I'm no miracle worker, but I do know a thing or two about good pizza toppings," he teased. We chuckled together, and just like that, a simple delivery turned into a conversation that stretched far beyond the pizza box. Ethan told me about his days delivering food around Brooklyn, the people he met, and his passion for playing the guitar. He dreamed of opening a small cafe, a place where music and stories would mingle over coffee. I shared my fears about balancing college and life, worried about whether I'd find my place in the world. He listened carefully, not just waiting for his turn to speak, but truly hearing me. Over the next few weeks, Ethan's visits became a bright spot in my routine. Every pizza delivery came with a smile, a joke, or a story that lifted my spirits. One rainy evening, he showed up with 2 pizzas instead of 1. "Thought you might want some company tonight," he said shyly. I invited him in, and we sat on the floor, surrounded by my art supplies and books. We talked about dreams and fears, music and hope. Ethan's easy laughter and genuine kindness made the heavy weight of college work feel lighter. I began to look forward to his visits, the way he noticed the little things, how I always ordered extra cheese, or how sometimes my smile didn't quite reach my eyes. There was a quiet comfort in his presence, a friendship blossoming gently like the first light of dawn. One afternoon, Ethan surprised me with a small bouquet of wildflowers. "For you," he said simply. The gesture touched something deep inside me, an emotional connection growing in the quiet moments between us. We started spending time outside my apartment, walks through the park, coffee at a corner cafe, sharing hopes and weaving stories together. He invited me to watch him perform at an open mic night. His music was soulful, filled with stories of everyday life and dreams chasing reality. Sitting in the crowd, I realized how much Ethan had come to mean to me. Life's challenges still lingered, exams, deadlines, and the usual uncertainties. But with Ethan by my side, the world seemed a little brighter. Then one day, Ethan didn't come. Another delivery boy handed me my order, and my heart sank. Had our connection been just a fleeting moment? Days passed with no word from Ethan. I missed the comfort of our talks and the spark of hope he brought. Then my phone buzzed with a message. "Missed our talks, let's meet soon?" Relief and excitement filled me. I knew our story was just beginning. After those first few weeks, Ethan and I grew closer in ways I hadn't expected. His visits brightened the dullest days, and his stories made me feel connected to a bigger world beyond my textbooks and assignments. Ethan wasn't just a delivery boy, he was a dreamer with a heart full of hope. He talked about opening a cafe called The Lucky Slice, a place where people could gather to share stories, music, and laughter. I could see the passion in his eyes whenever he spoke about his plans. One evening, after a long day of classes, I opened the door to find Ethan holding 2 pizzas and a small wrapped box. "Thought you might want some company," he said with a gentle smile. I invited him in, and we sat on the floor of my apartment, eating and talking late into the night. I showed him my sketches and art projects, and he shared his favorite songs and the poems he wrote during quiet moments. He told me about his family, how his parents had always encouraged him to chase his dreams, even if it meant taking risks. I shared my own worries about balancing school and life, and how sometimes it felt like I was falling behind. "You're stronger than you think, Sophia," he said, looking me in the eye. Sometimes all we need is a little reminder. That night, I realized how important it was to have someone who believed in you. As days turned into weeks, Ethan and I found ourselves spending more time together beyond pizza deliveries. We explored Brooklyn's hidden parks, listened to street musicians, and tried new coffee shops. The emotional bond between us grew quietly, built on laughter, shared dreams, and understanding. But life, as it often does, brought challenges. One day, Ethan didn't show up with my usual order. Instead, a new delivery boy handed me the pizza, and I felt a pang of disappointment. A few hours later, my phone buzzed with a message from Ethan. "Hey, Sophia, I wanted to tell you first I quit the delivery job. I'm working on opening my cafe now. I hope we can still hang out soon. Coffee on me?" Relief flooded through me. Even though he was stepping away from the job that had brought us together, our connection was far from over. The following week, I found myself walking into a cozy little space filled with the rich aroma of coffee and fresh pastries. Above the counter, a sign read, "The Lucky Slice." Ethan greeted me with his warm smile, handing me a cup of coffee with a note tucked under the sleeve. "Welcome to the dream." We spent the afternoon talking about the future, his hopes for the cafe, my plans for graduation, and the possibility of new beginnings. For the first time in a long while, I felt hopeful. Hopeful that no matter where life took us, we'd always have this special friendship, a bond that started with a simple pizza delivery and grew into something meaningful. Ethan's cafe, The Lucky Slice, quickly became more than just a place to grab coffee. It was our little haven. I would spend hours there studying, sipping on the special blends he created, and sharing stories with other regulars. Ethan's dream was alive, and so was our growing friendship. One evening, after the cafe had closed and the last customers had left, Ethan pulled out his guitar and played a song he had written. The melody was soft and warm, and the lyrics spoke of hope, courage, and finding beauty in unexpected places. As he sang, our eyes met, and I felt an emotional connection that words couldn't fully explain. It was a bond built on trust, respect, and shared dreams, something deeper than just friendship. But life had its own plans. A few months later, I received an offer for an internship in another state. It was an incredible opportunity, but it meant leaving behind everything I'd grown to love, including Ethan and his cafe. The night before I left, we sat together in the quiet cafe, the soft glow of the lights casting gentle shadows. I confessed my fears of the unknown and the possibility of losing what we had. Ethan smiled and handed me a coffee cup with a note wrapped around it. Goodbyes are just see you laters with bad spelling. We laughed, but underneath the humor was the bittersweet feeling of parting. During my internship, we stayed in touch through messages and video calls. Though miles apart, our bond remained strong, a comforting thread connecting our lives. When the internship ended, I rushed back to Brooklyn, eager to see Ethan and the cafe that had become a symbol of hope for me. The moment I stepped inside, Ethan was there, grinning as if he had known I would return. "Delivery for Sophia?" he joked, handing me a fresh cup of coffee. This time I didn't let go. I knew our story was far from over. We had built something special, a connection that could face any challenge. As I looked around the cozy cafe, filled with laughter and warmth, I realized that sometimes the smallest moments, the unexpected friendships and simple acts of kindness can change a life forever. And that delivery boy? He wasn't just someone who brought me pizza. He was the person who showed me that even in the busiest, most stressful times, there's room for hope, connection, and dreams. Our story is still unfolding, but one thing is certain. Sometimes the most extraordinary journeys begin with something as simple as a pizza delivery.